You are listening to And That's Okay, the podcast devoted to encouraging you to live in your truth in a society where reality is not what's socially popular. This is a platform where you could be a novice about anything and feel comfortable about it. Let's have the conversations we all wish we had years ago and want to hear more of. Nothing is off limits and there is no shame or judgment here. Join me as I navigate life, marriage, friendships, finances, career, and whatever else life throws at me. Listen, doing all this self-work is bound to piss a few people off, and that's okay. Thank you for tuning in. I'm your host, Angelique Royale. Let's get into it. So, year number two. We've been married for 2 years.
Going on 30.
It's been 2 years. What's up, y'all? As y'all can see, I have the hubby back.
What's up, y'all?
We had an amazing last episode. You guys really knocked that out the park. It is my top listened to episode right now. So it was only right to bring the hubby back on.
You know they feeling the kid.
We've been married for 2 years now. We're going to talk about year 2. We're going to talk about our amazing trip for our anniversary.
Oh, man.
And we're going to just get into it. It's going to be a nice, openly candid conversation. And we just going to talk the talk.
Because we walk the walk.
It's just a goofball. Year number 2. Celebrated our 2nd anniversary in July in Aruba. And
I want to go back tomorrow.
I bet you do, because I want to go back too. It is like our favorite place now, just simply because of the vibes there.
Is it officially our go-to every year we move forward?
It can be. I wouldn't say every year, but if
right,
we
we're
can't...
going to sprinkle in a little switch up here and there. But if we can't, we know where we're going.
Yeah,
okay.
If we can't decide on a new place to travel, we know we can go back to Aruba just because of the vibes we had our first time there.
Yeah, Aruba was lit on a different level.
It was. If you haven't been to Aruba, I know I talked about this in a previous episode, definitely go to Aruba. It is definitely the happy island, as they call it.
Yeah, everybody happy on that damn island.
I felt like I didn't come across anybody that like gave that I hated my job type vibes. Everyone was extremely nice, extremely helpful, and it was just like a good time.
You know what the best thing about it was? No mosquitoes. No damn mosquitoes. They love me for some reason. I was so happy. I ain't get bit up. I ain't seen that one. I think we seen like one towards the end of it. The last night we was there, I seen like one on the beach. But that was it.
Yeah, it was one of those where it was just like, yeah, we here. We just ain't bother you.
Right. Right. The island's so happy, even the mosquitoes happy. I mean, they wasn't messing with nobody. At least I ain't seen none.
Yeah, it was a good time. How were you feeling about year 2 of marriage?
I feel like year 2, I feel like year 1 is like the no pun intended, the honeymoon stage. Mm. So you're still in everything, you're still happy about just being married. You're still in that, love is bliss type of vibe. I feel like year 2 is still the same, but it's more of a reality sets in, more of like, all right, we're married, now what? You know what I'm saying? So it's like, you still have that, newly married freshness to it, but you realize that marriage is it has more work to it, than the first year. You don't really think about working. But I feel like the second year is more like, you just realize that, all right, marriage is good, everything is good about marriage, but you gotta work at it. It's not cake, So I would say year 2, it was more of that realization, like that, all right, if you want your marriage to work, it can be good, it can be great, it can be love is bliss and all that stuff, but year 2 was like the awareness of the fact that, it is work at the same time, in order for, your marriage to last and to strengthen your bond, you have to work at it every day.
Yeah, I can see that. For me, year 2 was understanding how intentional you have to be. Like year 1, it was like the honeymoon stage. I'm married. I got a husband. You're in marital bliss. And it was just like year 2 was one of those that's like, to keep this marital bliss up, we both have to be intentional with how we treat each other, with how we care for each other. It was also learning to have grace with your partner, because we're both human. We're both going to make mistakes. We're both learning. We're both growing. And it was understanding that in year 2 to open my eyes to say like, okay, our foundation moving forward, we definitely know we need to be intentional with whatever we do. We have to make sure we make the time for us. We have to prioritize us and be intentional with our marriage. Like, definitely involved. It's not like something where you're married and then you just, all right, you're married.
Right. And then you see like, then you see and realize how much work you do have, you know, as a couple and as a married couple with that. Like, you realize that, hey, as much as you think that you guys are solid and think that your bond is tight, you know, the more and more, you know, time go on, you do realize that, oh, all right, we're not as great as I thought we were. You know, we do have things we need to work on individually and then together. Like, we do have to work. Mm-hmm. You know, you just realize that, like, as you go on. So it's like year 2 was definitely like more of a wake up. Like, all right, we're great, but we got to work on this, that, and third.
Right. Like, it forces you to look within. Like, definitely look in the mirror and say like, okay, this can be better.
Right.
This is some things we need to work on together, but then also work on alone.
Right.
Because I feel like, me personally, it's like when you get married, any issues that weren't resolved or discussed before you got married, I feel like it brings it to the forefront. Once you get married, I feel like it's something where like you can't hide it anymore. You can't put it off because it's going to make something off or make something weird, or one partner could be acting this way and the other partner could be acting that way because this situation wasn't dealt with, or there wasn't like a common ground that was met.
Right. Or you might realize that something might pop up that you didn't even think about prior to getting married.
Yeah.
That was like, you know, damn, I didn't know that I was dealing with this, you know, internally, or I didn't know that this was a problem, you know, our relationship or our bond, you know, internally, until you get married, until you start talking more and being more communicative, you know, about, you know, being honest with each other. You start to realize like certain things, like, all right, we got to work on that. Mm-hmm. You know,
a lot of people don't realize that it's a lot of self-work. Like, granted, when you get married, it's 2 that becomes 1. You basically become a unit. You become a force to be reckoned with. But it's also like, to be the ultimate force together, you have to work on yourself individually so that you can be able to communicate your feelings, understand each other, be able to have that grace for each other, because you don't have any past experiences affecting what you got going on moving forward, which definitely can like affect a marriage based on stuff that you individually didn't deal with beforehand. Because it's like, now not only do you have to worry about yourself, you have to worry about how this might affect your partner, or if you,
which is hard to see, you know, until you're in it. It's hard, especially like you said, depending on how you grew up, you know. So if you grew up as the only child, you know, certain things you might not have seen, mm-hmm. you know, growing up, you know, versus someone that's had siblings and grew up in a house full of siblings, or maybe you grew up in a household where both your parents were married and they were together, and you got to grow up under that type of, you know, environment, versus you was only raised by a single parent. You know, it's just different dynamics that you might have seen or not have seen, that it affects you as you get older and as you're embarking on, you know, marriage and as you get older as an adult.
Yeah, and even some things that you don't realize until you experience them. And sometimes you won't come across those things until you're at a certain point in your marriage. So marriage is something where it's like forever evolving, and at different times in your lives, things can change. You can experience new things can happen. Sometimes you don't even realize you have a certain problem until you go through a certain situation that brings that problem to life. So it's like, okay, yes, we only been married for 2 years, but COVID years feels like 10.
Like, that's the thing too. Like when people ask me like, you know, how long you been married, and I say, all right, 2, but going on 7. I feel like I always say like 2, but you know, it feel like we've been married for like 17 years. Like that's the truth. Like it feel like you've been married longer, even though you only been married 2 years.
Yeah.
You know, and I don't know if that's like just the wisdom of it. Like it's the wisdom that, you know, the 2 years that we, you know, married. I don't know if that's like the COVID time.
Could be, but then like you got to think about it. We've been together for 7 years, going on 8 years total. So it's not like when we got married, we just started with each other. So it could be a part of that too. Like we've been together total for 7.5 years.
Yeah. But it do feel different when you're married though versus it being, you know, a couple, you know, being in a relationship. So it's like, I don't know, at least for me, it kind of felt like it's a little different vibe, you know, when you're married. It's like everything is like, it weighs a little different. It weighs heavier.
Yeah, you have that unity. It's no longer individually just you or individually just me. It's us together. We traded in the I and you for we.
Yeah, and I feel like that's like, at least for me, that's been the hardest. I don't want to say hardest, but it's been like the one thing that I've noticed that it's been like work for me. It's just being aware and being open to like being aware of things I might have never noticed before that might, you know, be an issue, whether that be an issue for you or an issue for me, and you know, being open to changing certain things about me for the better. So it's like the older you get, you know, they say the older you get, the more stubborn you can get. And it's like, that's true, but you're going to get stubborn like that if you don't try to change certain things about yourself.
Yeah, and some people are very reluctant to change because of the fear of what they're changing into. A lot of people are comfortable with where they're at right now. So like the thought of changing or having to change what they're used to, they're really reluctant to do so.
Yeah. But yeah, year two has been great. Year 3 is starting off great as well. I feel like each year is going to be different, a learning experience for us.
Absolutely.
You know, it's going to be different things that you go through. It's going to be different things you learn. It's going to be different things you experience. So.
Yeah, because as people, it's like what we experience individually and together will also shape our relationship and our marriage. So Aruba was a good time. We spent the week and it was just me and you. You know, it wasn't much social media. It was just our time enjoying doing whatever we wanted to do. If we wanted to take a nap, we took a nap. If we wanted to eat, we ate. If we wanted to sit on the beach all day, we sat on the beach all day. It was no agenda, no itinerary. We just had a good time with just the two of us, just celebrating our anniversary, starting year 3, ending year 2, and just being really with each other and being intentional with our time together. And it was just so peaceful to be there. The weather was so calm, and it was just a good time. You just felt like at home. We even walked out to like the local city and had dinner outside and ate at a couple restaurants, and like we felt like we were just downtown in Philly. Like we didn't feel like we was in Aruba. Well, y'all know how downtown Philly is.
No, it's different.
Right, there's a difference, but it didn't feel like we were in a whole nother country because of how comfortable we were.
Yeah.
Like we knew we were in Aruba because of the weather and the nice people, and you know, didn't have to worry about crime or anything like that.
Mm-hmm.
but we were comfortable just scurrying off the resort and walking and
definitely chill vibes. Like I think I've mentioned Aruba to like 4 or 5 different people as far as like, yeah, you should go to Aruba. Go to Aruba. Like, it's like I think I've recommended it to like 4 or 5 people. Like I had that much of a good time.
Yeah.
You know, so it's everything that you want to do is there. If you just want to chill, you can chill. If you want to get into all the activities, I know next time we go, we'll probably do a little bit more activities. But this time we just was on chill mood.
Mm-hmm.
But it was a good time. So.
Yeah, it was definitely a great time. I say great because I'm all about relaxing, sleeping, eating, drinking. I'm not your itinerary
we definitely ate good. We ate good. We definitely ate good. And we didn't really experience. We experienced the food, but I felt like we could have experienced it more.
Yeah, we definitely could have branched out a little bit more. That's why we're gonna go back.
Oh yeah, we definitely.
Yeah, we're gonna go back to definitely branch out a little bit more, try some more restaurants that were in the towns and stuff like that. We definitely are going to branch out more. So would you say year 2 was more eye-opening than year 1, or was it kind of like on the same?
I would say yeah, because like I said, year 1 is more of the, you still riding the high of that getting married, that having a wedding and all that stuff. So you're still on that magic carpet ride. So I would say year 2 is more of an eye opener because things start to calm down. You get back to the reality of life. So I would say year 2 is probably like the more, all right, you start to see things, you start to realize certain things. All right, this needs to change, it needs to get better. Whether that's for myself or whether that's for us as a unit, as a union. It's like, all right, we gotta work on some things. So I would say year 2 is more eye opener. And then now it's like we're on that path is to work on certain things, to work things that we're not, necessarily, strong at, but also strengthen other areas that we are strong at as well. It's like, but yeah, I would say year 2 is more opens your eyes to certain things.
Okay, so what are you looking forward to? We're currently in year 3, midway through.
I think I'm more looking forward to at the end of year 3 just to see like, what kind of progress we've made, as a couple and as individuals. And like what did we see and what did we work on? How far did we come? How much work did we put in? And then also like, all right, what else might pop up that we might have not have realized or might have not have been aware of that pops up that we might have to focus on moving forward.
Right, I can agree on that because like even halfway through year 3, I feel like it's definitely different than year 2, but it's moving in like a good direction.
Yeah.
Where it's like we're both becoming more understanding of each other, we're both communicating better, we're both expressing our feelings and our wants better, and what we need, definitely expressing our needs, even though it's something that like we're both still learning to identify exactly what we need and want out of life. And it's like we are having more of the tough conversations that we may have avoided in the past, but it's just kind of like in order to grow and for us to be better, we gotta have these tough conversations and we gotta talk it out. And it's not like one of those where when we do talk it out, it ends bad, because some people think like when you have those tough conversations, it's always going to be some anger, some arguing or something like that.
Yeah.
And it's like it shouldn't be like that. When 2 people are sitting down and being adults about a situation, it should be rather you agree or disagree with each other. It shouldn't turn into like an argument or anybody feeling bad. It's one of those where like you can have that conversation, and if you disagree at the time, then maybe revisit it later. But it shouldn't be something where both parties are angry at the end of the day, or one party's angry at the end of the day, or someone's feeling guilty about even bringing it to the table because of how the turnout is.
The crazy thing is, I feel like the older I've gotten, the more I've realized that people, even though they might portray, you know, how honest they are, but I feel like the older I've gotten, the more I've realized that people are truly not honest with people.
No.
Like, I feel like, and whether that's, you know, on purpose or whether that's they don't realize it, like it's hard to be honest, because sometimes you might not even know how to be honest, or so you don't want to hurt that person's feelings, or you might not know what how you truly feel to be honest about, you know. So it's like that's the hardest part too, and I feel like that's something that we're learning in year 3. It's just to be honest and to, you know, speak more of what's on our hearts and our mind. Mm-hmm. Whereas though in the past you might have not have known how to express ourselves. We might have not have known what we was feeling and thinking to be, you know, expressive to our other partner. Right. So I feel like that's something that's definitely something that we've been more focused on, that I can point out this year 3 is just being honest with each other and with ourselves as well too.
Yeah, I was going to say that, like, some people have a hard time being honest with themselves, so it's kind of hard for them to be honest with anyone else. Like, you can't even be honest with yourself. Mm-hmm. And then, like, people have to realize too that you can't really control how other people take what you say, because everyone's looking through a filter based on what they experience and what they got going on in their life. Whereas though you can come to someone and be super delicate with your delivery, but based on what they got going on, they still might find it offensive. They still might feel some type of way about it. Right. But that's also out of your control.
Yeah. And sometimes, like, you can know what you have to say, know what you want to say, and be honest with somebody, but it might take them a while for it to actually click for them. You know, like, in those type of situations, you can't be frustrated, because it goes both ways. Like, I could be honest with you, and it might not, the light bulb might not go off on you until later. Mm-hmm. Where it's like, oh, now I know what Babe meant when he said this. You know, now I know how he felt about this, even though at the time when he said it, I didn't understand it.
Right.
And it's like vice versa. Like, it might take me sometimes before I truly understand how you feel about something, or, you know, I truly get the severity of a situation, or, you know, it's something like that. Like, where it's though, like, you can be honest, and it's good to have those tough conversations, but, you know, it's okay for those conversations not to have a solution at that time, because everybody interprets things differently and at a different time.
Yeah, and what I realize is that sometimes it takes people a minute to process certain situations, whereas though people allow things to happen and they want to answer right then and there. They want to know right now. You need to give me a response right now, rather than allowing this person to take a minute and step back. Let me process a little bit of what you just told me. Let me, you know, let it register in my brain so I can understand how I feel about it, and let me come back to you with an answer. Now, I'm not saying like people take forever. Some people do take forever before they come back, and I don't know the thing with that, but it's still, sometimes people just need a day or two to process the information they just received so that they can fully understand and give you a proper explanation. But then it's also up to that person to follow up and say, hey, what you said the other day, this is what I got from this, and is that what you meant? Because it made me feel this way, but I wanted to make sure how I felt before I brought it to you. Or sometimes people need to remove the emotions out of the situation to have a better understanding, because sometimes we could be sensitive. People can be sensitive, people can be dramatic, people can overthink,
people be in their feelings,
people don't be in their feelings, and it's just kind of like sometimes you just need a little bit time to process things. And then if you're a person that has a significant other and you know that you can kind of be like nonchalant about things, maybe sometimes you can take a minute and process it and be like, okay, well, this doesn't really affect me, but my significant other has a problem with this. Let me take a minute and think about it, and then come back to the table.
You already know I'm a nonchalant person. You already know that's definitely how my personality is. I'm nonchalant, I'm mellow, I'm laid back, and it's like that's just how, that's how it is, and that can give off the wrong, I guess, message too when somebody's like that. Mm-hmm. It's like, oh, you nonchalant, you don't care, or it's hard to tell, how you feel because you're so laid back. It's like, yeah, it is, but I can't help it, But it's always, like you said, to like double back. It's always good, at least to reaffirm, to that person, like, hey, even though I'm this way, I haven't forgotten about that. I haven't forgotten about what you said. Mm-hmm. So that's the work you have to put in too.
Yeah, and I'm pretty sure like the significant other will appreciate that. Like, I appreciate that. Yeah, you're nonchalant, kind of where my example came from. Wasn't trying to put you out there, hey, but
ain't no shame in my game.
It's nice for someone to come back and be like, I thought about what you said, blah 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 blah, or I understand that this may not bother me, but I get that it affects you, and moving forward, I will take that in consideration. And it just helps to be reaffirmed and to know that, like, okay, I care about this person, they care about me, and they're willing to take my feelings in consideration just as much as I'm taking theirs into consideration.
And I know I probably said this before, like, the more you learn about yourself, the more you might come across like, all right, damn, like before I felt this, but I didn't know what it was or how to express it. Or the more you communicate, you might learn, like, all right, well, now I know what that felt, what that feeling was. So now I can communicate it to my partner. Hey, babe, I felt this. Remember when we had this conversation about, such and such, I didn't really know how to, communicate or express it, but now I felt like I have a better grasp of how I'm feeling. So this is how I felt. Mm-hmm. And that only comes from, communicating and talking more with your partner. That only comes from doing the self-work. That only comes from like really doing, yourself, analyzing what you got going on and how to look through the situation properly.
Yeah, definitely. And it's like self-awareness. Having that self-awareness will definitely help you too, because like you're able to see when you're wrong, or you're able to check yourself. I wouldn't even say see when you're wrong. You're able to take a moment and be like, was I a little too harsh? No, I was good. Or yeah, I could have been a little soft. Or I could have did that a little differently. Like, it gives you that self-awareness to be able to like check yourself. Don't nobody else gotta check me, because I could check myself. Like,
but I feel like that's a lost thing. Or people don't have that because people don't want to be wrong. Mm-hmm. Like, people don't want to be wrong, so they'll look at the situation like how the other person is wrong, or how the other person is thinking, or so like, nah, it could be just you.
Yeah, and a lot of that too is people don't like to see who they truly are. They can't take who they truly are. Yeah. So they'll make everyone else seem like the bad person, and they're the victim.
Okay. But that's when you gotta really look at it as in a grand scheme of things, like in a bigger picture. It's like, all right, well, if I'm in a relationship, I have a partner, and ultimately, what is the goal? If the goal is to make our union stronger, and to make this last as long as possible, can like the last long. So it's like, you can't have no ego in it. Like, you gotta take your ego out if ultimately the goal is to strengthen your bond and strengthen your love, and to have that long lasting love. You have to take your ego out of it. Mm-hmm. And nobody wins when the family feuds. Like, that shit is true.
Absolutely. People don't realize that, like, you need community. Like, you can't do nothing by yourself. You can't get far by yourself. You need help. Everyone has a talent that they could bring to the table. It's always someone that can do something or help in a way. Like, you need community. It helps keep you sane. Like, you can't sit there and just be in your own world, not wanting to change, not wanting to grow, not wanting to do better, right, thinking you're going to get far.
Yeah, and I think, at least I feel like that's a more of a guy thing too, because we're like taught, be in a society like the guy has to handle everything. The guy can't be, can't be emotional, or can't cry about this, or can't bitch and complain about that. Like that's just a societal thing. Whereas though, like, no, like, it's okay to, ask for help. It's okay to not be okay.
Like you're human.
You're a human. So it's like, that's the thing where, like I said, like more, I feel like men have to kind of, get over. It's like, all right, listen, I'm not doing all right. I need help. But on the flip side, our first, instinct is to handle it ourselves or internalize it ourselves. But we have to get better at that too. I'm still getting better at, realizing that I do need help in certain areas. Like, I need help. Like, hey, I need help with this, or hey, I need advice on this, instead of internalizing it and then just handle it myself. Like, so that's something I'm continuing to work on and have been better at. But I feel like as a whole, men have to, open themselves up for that too, is to be like open to ask for help and open themselves to realizing, all right, man, how do I feel? I feel like this. I feel like this is hurting me, or I feel like I need help with this. And just being open with, your partner when it comes to that.
Yeah. And I agree, because I look at it as, you're a man, you're human. You have feelings, you have needs, you have wants. And just as much as a woman deserves to have those needs once met, a man can too. And it's just like this whole strong era in society of a man supposed to do all this and do that. I get it. It's a pride thing with some men, and the men is supposed to lead. But in order for you to be a great leader, you need help. You can't do it all on your own. And for some men, they have to learn to ask for that help, which it does not make them any less than. Because even in the Bible, we're helpmates. I'm here to help you. You're here to help me. Like, it's a partnership. We become one. So it's like, if I take care of this, you take care of that. But ultimately, it's not all falling on one person. And I know it's probably a lot of people out there would disagree. Why the man's supposed to be this, and that. However you want to run your household, sis or bro, that's how you want to run your household.
I hate them.
Like, however you want to do, like however you want to do it. But it's just like I said, like community. Like, we're supposed to make life easier. You pick a life partner because life itself is hard. So I want to pick a life partner to make life a little bit more easy to get through.
Right.
Like, a little bit more easy to get through. So if I need to do this to help and he needs to do that to help, it's just like the relationship stereotypes. And it's basically like, there's no rules. Do whatever works for you and your partner. Like, there's no right or wrong way.
Yeah, I hate when I see that on social media. When somebody might say something on Twitter or something like, well, I need a man that can pay for this, do that, and it's like, and you'll see like a bunch of comments basically agreeing with it, and it's like, almost, they'll make it seem like almost like it's law. And it's like, no, that's not how it is. Everybody's situation is different. If that's your situation, then cool, but what makes you great don't make somebody else great. Their situation can be totally different.
Exactly.
So you gotta look at it like that. Like, what you go through with your partner, that was best for y'all is what's best for y'all, and then keep that, keep that union in that way for y'all. But everybody's situation is different. Everybody's gonna learn differently. Everybody's going to handle their situation differently. Like, you can't look at somebody else's situation and say, all right, they're like this, so all right, our situation gotta be like this. All right, my man, her man is like that. Why can't my man be like that? Or damn, his woman is like that. Why can't my woman be like that? Like, nah, like, why are you looking at it like that? Look at your own situation. How to make your own situation best for you in your situation. Like, yeah, you could take certain gems here and there, but ultimately you gotta adapt it to what you got going on.
I think a lot of that too comes from like being closed-minded, of thinking that like there's only one way for things to be. And it's just like, do what works best for you and your partner. Like, every situation is different and unique. And it's like, I have a few married friends, and hanging around them allows me to see how different the dynamics are. But at the same time, it's functional and it's healthy for them. Like, it works for them. It may not be exactly what I may agree with my situation, but that is their situation. And I can have an open mind and an open heart to say, like, okay, I don't agree with that, but if it works for them and she's happy and he's happy, okay. I ain't gonna lose sleep over it, because it's not my business to lose sleep over it. But I'm also not out here like, oh no, you need to only do this. Oh, if he ain't doing this, then I ain't talking to him. If he ain't doing that, okay, that's your situation. But don't shame nobody else if that's not their situation.
Right.
Like, everybody's different. Everybody's different. Everybody's situation is different. We grew up knowing a man is supposed to lead and provide. A man can still lead and provide. Like, that doesn't stop him from doing that. Some women lead and provide too. Or some couples have it where as though no one is top. Both of them out there getting it. Like, every situation is different. Right. It is a partnership. And it's like, whoever has the strongest skills, you're strong. What is it? Like, your strong...
Your strong attributes.
Yeah, your strong attributes is where you are the strongest at, and the other person, you know, maybe weak in those areas. So you pick up those areas, and then where that person is strong in, and you may be weak, they pick up in them strong areas. Like, you really got to find out what works and stop comparing yourself to what you see on social media, because that is not what's going on behind closed doors. Right. Like, social media is a picture that's being painted for you, and you want to compare your situation where you can't even take a look at, like, okay, yeah, my man don't do what her man do, but he do XYZ for me.
Right.
Or my girl don't be doing that, but she do XYZ for me. Because everybody has different, as they call it, love languages. Everybody has different strengths and how they grew up and how they see life, but it's all about what you communicate with your partner. If you want to see more of something, then communicate that. Yeah. Like, you have needs and wants. Like, can't nobody read nobody's mind. I said that in our last episode, what we did together, where, like, speak up. Yeah. It's like the girl, but like, stand up. Stand up. Speak up. Speak up. Can't nobody read your mind. Like, your situation is your situation. It's between you and your partner and nobody else. Whatever makes you happy, makes you happy. If don't nobody else agree with it, at the end of the day, it's you and your partner behind them closed doors. Yep. Ain't nobody else in there. Nobody from social media. Nobody from your family. Your kids is in the other room. It's when them doors shut at night and y'all laying in bed, it's you and your husband or wife. Yeah. It ain't nobody else. So whatever makes y'all happy, makes y'all happy. Whatever works for y'all, works for y'all.
Yeah. Whatever lets y'all be great. That's what you need to do. Whatever makes y'all great.
Yup. And it's like, you can always change it up. Yeah. Have a conversation and switch it up.
As you get older, your outlook on things change, your dynamic change. So
your needs change, your wants change.
Wants change. You realize certain things that you might not have realized before.
Yeah.
So things life be lifing, man.
It does. Life definitely be lifing.
Life be lifing.
Like, people make it seem like it has to be one way, and it does not. And that's okay. It's okay.
Oh, that's a bar, and that's okay. I see you.
And that's okay. You see me? You see me plugging it in?
I see you plugging it in like, that's a bar. My baby got bars.
Like, cause like, people really be out here be having you thinking things are only one way. Mm-mm. And there is a million ways to do the same thing. As they say, like, when you start in a business and you think the market's oversaturated, go walk in a bread aisle. Different bread. Plenty of different names, different types. You're not going to find the same two people. You're not going to find the same exact marriage. Nope. You're not. So why are you trying to create that based on what you see on social media?
That shit it's fake anyway. Majority of it.
Yeah, and I can understand too where some people, they grew up so they don't have like an example of a healthy relationship or marriage in their lives. So what they see on the internet may be the only thing. But then it's like, for that, take time to work on yourself and understand what your wants and needs. Understand what you would like or what you want a marriage to look like for you.
Right.
Like, take that time out to really find you, figure out who you are and your needs and wants, and what do you want to bring to a relationship, and then figure out what you want your partner to bring to a relationship, and make that your goal. Like, don't use social media as the outline or the blueprint.
Right.
Like, you create your own, because everybody's situation, you don't know what people are sacrificing behind closed doors to get what they got.
Right.
Like, you don't know what they're going through. You don't know the woman's like crying every night, but on social media she look happy, or the guy just sitting there doing this, but at the end of the day, like, his wife don't do nothing, and he like, dang, I wish he would, help a little bit. Like, you never know.
It's crazy. Like, people are look at social media as law, and like, oh, we gotta do it this way. And it's just like, you'll do that to the T. You'll follow everything on social media, but it'll come something simple as like follow directions of building something from IKEA. You won't even follow directions. You're like, yo, all right, how it look on the box? All right, that's how we gonna get it. Like how that don't make any sense.
No.
Like, you ain't gonna read the directions to build this desk, but you gonna follow somebody on social media, like, just because it looks good.
It's just painting you a picture. It ain't even giving you the full scope of things.
That's all it's doing.
It ain't giving you the hardest things that's going, the sacrifices and stuff that you're making in the background. And it's not even giving you that.
Nope.
Which is like, to me, it's crazy, but y'all do y'all. Whatever floats y'all boat. I ain't listening.
That's where you gotta pluck certain gems out of certain situations. Like, all right, that makes sense.
I always say, take what you need and leave the rest for somebody else. Like, take what you need. You don't need everything. You don't need from beginning to end. Take what you need and leave the rest for somebody else.
Yeah.
That was some good combo. That hurt.
I don't know what you just did.
But that was a good conversation. We definitely had some fun and probably dropped a few gems for a few people. But at the end of the day, just do what makes you happy.
Yeah. What's for y'all is for y'all at the end of the day.
Right. Like, don't allow anyone else to define whatever happiness and joy looks like for you. You feel is right deep down in your heart. That's what you got to follow. Follow your heart.
Yep. So, that was good convo, B.
Yeah, it was good.
Now,
maybe I might have you come back.
Hold on. I got to shout out to everybody that listened to my wife's podcast. She's doing her thing. She's going to continue to grow. That's all I got.
Oh, wait, y'all. I forgot to mention, if you don't follow on Instagram, you should at And That's Okay Podcast. We have reached a milestone of 500 plays. Like, y'all really been listening. And I want to take the time and thank y'all. I don't know if you didn't see the post on Instagram. I thanked everyone through Instagram, but on this episode, I'm thanking you if you do not follow on Instagram. But if you don't, go follow so that you could keep up, because every time we hit a milestone, I'm going to share it because I truly appreciate y'all. And the fact that you're listening, the fact that you share it with anybody, whatever gems you pick up, I truly appreciate it. Talk to me. I'm not going to bite. I promise. Thank you so much for listening. I hope you walked away with some valuable information. Make sure to follow the podcast on IG at And That's Okay Podcast. You can connect with me directly on there. Looking forward to the next episode. Remember to spread love, kindness, and make the choices that bring you peace.